Hi everyone. So now I would like to discuss something about the interpersonal communication. So we already have seen about what is the communication and what are the tools of the communication and what are the barriers of the communication we have seen in the first session. But here it is something important that it is very interesting to interpersonal communication. So what is that interpersonal communication and how that skills can be enhanced in us? That is what we are going to see in this session. So first of all, let's recall what is a communication. So what is a communication in this sense? It is the evoking of a shared or common meaning in another person. You are sharing something and you are giving something to a person, to another person. That we call it as a communication. That means the evoking of a shared or common meaning. And what is interpersonal communication? So interpersonal communication means it is a communication that is happening between two or more people in an organization. In an organization, or we can call it as inside the organization. So it is a kind of formal communication. So communication is a general, where this interpersonal communication we call it as formal communication that happens between two or more people in an organization. So who is the communicator here? The person originating the message is the communicator here. Maybe the speaker or the team leader or the manager or the CEO of the company. He is the communicator here. And who is the receiver? The employees or the managers and the person, the customers. They are the receivers here in this type of communication. What is the perceptual screen? A window through which we interact with the people that influences the quality, accuracy and clarity of the communication. This we call it as perceptual screen. And when it comes message, what is a message? The thoughts, the feelings that the communicator is attempt to elect in the receiver. That is the message. If the communicator wants to impact, wants the receiver to be a best performer, then what is his intention? To make the employee as the best performer. That is the thought and feeling of him. If a manager is organizing a meeting and he is communicating about the current incentive procedures or the current on assignments, if you are discussing about it, then the message is making the employees to work on the current assignment or making the employees to work for the high promotions. That is the third and fourth. This is the message. And what is the feedback loop? The pathway that completes two-way communication. So two-way communication means the speaker should speak and the receiver should receive, and the receiver should confirm that he received the message. This we call it as feedback loop. So the pathway that completes two-way communication, we call it as the feedback loop here. And language, what is the language? The words, the pronunciation and the methods of combining them used and understood by a group of people, that we call it as language. So here these are the things that we have seen more about the communication. And what is the data? There is a fact called data in an interpersonal communication, and data means the uninterrupted and unanalyzed facts. So if it is an analyzed fact, then it is an information. If it is not an unanalyzed fact, that is if it is an unanalyzed fact, then we call it as data. So the uninterrupted and unanalyzed fact are the data. And what is the information? So that's what we see in the previous point. Data that have been interrupted, analyzed and have meaning to some user, that we call it as information. What is richness? So that is the quality of the communication, means the ability of a medium or channel to elect or to evoke meaning in the receiver. So you want to make the receiver to receive the message completely. That we call it as the richness of the communication. And what is the basic interpersonal communication model? This is the model. That is, the communicator will send some message, and the message has a context and it has an effect, and it goes to the receiver, and the receiver receives the message, and that should happen in the event. So So the communicator should communicate a message, the receiver to receive it, and the receiver should work on it. So that is what the model says. So the communication should not break at the receiver, or the communication should not break after the receiver. So the communication should flow from a communicator, it goes to a receiver, and it goes to the event. So if the communication wants to be completed, and if it's not to be end up at any point in between, then you should maintain the quality of the communication, and you should maintain the ethics of the communication, and you should follow some rules, that guidelines that helps the communicator to communicate the message properly. So this is what this model says. See the perceptual, that is the perceptual screens. So the communicator has some perceptual screen, and receiver has a perceptual screen. So what is the influence messages means? What I said already, I said. So the message quality, the accuracy, the clarity, and it includes the age, gender, values, beliefs, cultures, experience, and needs. So these are all the perceptual screens of the communicator. Perceptual screens of the communicator, as well as the perceptual screens of the receiver. So it should be, that is, the communication should end in, that is, the communication should go with the communication should go with the listen, that is the reflective listening. What is that reflective listening means? What we have seen in the diagram. The skill of listening carefully to another person and repeating back to the speaker the heard message to correct any inaccuracies or misunderstandings. This we call it as reflective listening. Suppose your boss is conveying you something, and you know already what is happening in the organization. So what you say is, you are explaining the boss the real scenario, the real situation of the organization, and the boss finds what is the relationship between his the message he conveyed and what is the current scenario of the office. So then he corrected the data, and he interrupted the data from the manager, and he worked on the data. He changed the message what he sent. So there we call it as reflective listening. So it is a skill of listening. So you want to carefully listen to one another person, and you should repeat back what is the real, so that you can correct the message at the first instance. We call it as reflective listening, and reflective listening is a very important part in the interpersonal organization. So this complex process needs to be divided, and it's to be understood also, because any kind of process that is not understood, then it cannot be reached the last point. So when I heard you say was, we will understand the process before if we break into the steps. So first of all, the process is conducted by the manager, and it should be understood by the persons. So when the person hears the message, so that when he understands the message, then it is easy for him to break up the event into simple parts, so that the worth of the product would be achieved each. And what is reflective listening? So it emphasizes receiver's role. So it is the role of the receiver, and it helps the receiver and communicator clearly and fully understand the message sent. So this kind of reflective listening will make the receiver and also the communicator to understand, or to really understand the essence of the message, or to really understand the situation. So it helps the receiver and communication clearly, and it helps them to fully understand the message sent, and it is useful in problem solving also. Of course, this reflective listening emphasizes the personal elements of the communication process. It helps the communication to be effective. It helps the communication to be very useful. So the feelings communicated in the message. So it really makes the people to understand the feelings communicated in the message, and responding to the communicator, not leading the communicator. So the role or receiver of an audience. And also it helps to understand the people by reducing perceptual distortions and interpersonal barriers. So these kind of things you can see in a reflective listening. And you can see there are 4 levels of verbal responses. One thing is affirm contact, second one is paraphrase the expressed, and third one is clarify the implicit, and fourth one is reflect the core feelings. So what is this affirm contact, or that is paraphrase the expressed, or clarify the impact. What is the thing is, when you have an upfront contact means that is, you should not have any distractions, or you should not have any other kinds of thoughts like disobeying the leader, or not readily accept, or not readily that is not ready to accepting the challenges, and not being very clear with what the person is saying. So these kind of things you should avoid to have a reflective listening. For that, you should maintain an upfront contact with the person. That is, you should be very concentrated on what the speaker is speaking about, and paraphrase the expressed. So you can paraphrase the expressed so that you can easily being connected to the speaker, and you can easily get into it, and clarify the implic. If there any implics happens, you should clarify, because the implics should not be leave unattended. Even the conclusions also you should not be left unattended. So you should clarify it immediately, and it should reflect the core feeling of an organization, because when you go in a way that is against the organization, or when you go in a way which is really opposite to the organization goal, so nothing is going to get done, and nothing is going to get completed in a perfect way, so that we can easily go out of the contact, or we can easily go out of the organization goal. So for that, we need to maintain a very great very great feedback schedule, or very great reflections, so that you can easily go with the reflections. And next one is reflect the core feelings and clarify the input, so that you can be able to attain what is the goal of an organization. And one-way versus two-way communications. This is much more important. We need to know about what is one-way communication and what is two-way communication. What does a one-way communication means? So the person sends a message to another person, and no questions, and no feedbacks, or no interaction to follow. For example, so if the person, that is, if they are changing some norms in an organization, like they are changing the working hours, or they are changing the that is the dress code in an organization. If they are doing those things, so there they cannot connect a one-way communication. Just they want to give that as an information. They cannot go as a communication. So in those cases, this one-way communication is much more applicable. And the example is given below, like it is very good for giving simple directions, and it is useful for taking fast decisions, but also it is very less than the two-way communication. This is one-way communication. And what is a two-way communication means? The communicator and the receiver interact. So they both will speak, they both will express, they both will engage. So there it is good for very great problem solving. And what are the 5 keys for effective supervisory communication means? Expressive speaking, if a person is speaking a lot, and empathetic listening, and persuasive leadership, sensitivity to feelings, and informative management. So these kind of things will really helps you to manage the interpersonal communication. So what are the barriers to communication that we seen already? That we are going to see what are the barriers of interpersonal communication. So the factors that block or significantly distort successful communication, we call it as barriers for the interpersonal communication. What are the barriers happening? Means first one is physical separation. The persons are physically separated. For example, as per the current scenario, everybody are working from home. So there they feel very great separation between them. In that cases, there occurs a great block in the communication. And also there is a status differences. The people are from different status, and the people are from different educational economic background. That creates a status differences also. And gender differences, it is most likely to happen in an organization. And another one is cultural diversity. The people are from different culture, so the people follows different ideas. That really helps the that really helps one help someone to go with that concept. So that's what we enjoy. So we are taking the communication to the next level, and it is very great in improving also. So what is defensive communication? So defensive communication is communication that can be aggressive, attacking, angry, passive, and withdrawing. That is, you could see some persons are speaking like they want to get their wages early, and some people speaks like the hope and the hope and the commitment the person gave. So if these kinds of any disappointments, or if these kind of any misunderstandings happen, so what a person normally will do means, so he creates exercise, and also he creates that way of creating this way of making the aggressive communication. And when you go for an angry, attacking, or a passive elements for the conversation, then you should go for this type of communications as well. Right. And what are all the defensive communication leads to? So the defensive communication leads to injured feelings and communication breakdowns and alienation and irrational behaviors and non-productive efforts and problem solving failures. So these are the things we are going to get from as a result of defensive communication. So what is non-defensive communication means? A non-defensive communication is the one that is assertive, direct, and powerful, and also it provides the basis for defense when attacked and restores order, balance, and effectiveness. And what is true defensive patterns means? Subordinated, that is subordinated means characterized by passive or submissive or withdrawal behavior. So these are all the two defensiveness patterns that breaks everything. So or sometimes dominant defensiveness, that is characterized by active, aggressive, or attacking behavior. And what are the defensive techniques means? If the boss he is the speaker, so finish the report by month's end or lose your promotion. Or if the speaker likes to put out, so a capable manager will already be done with this report. And if you are coming with a problem like labeling, so you must be slower, your report is still not changed. And raising those means how can I adjust you twice. So if you think you can finish it, so that much you can raise the report. This is how you should react for the one who is raising a doubt and inquiry. And if it is a misleading information, inquiry take. So Morgan has not gone over with me the information in for report. So the Morgan left places with a copy of the report. So scapegoating means, so Morgan did not give any report just until today. And hostile joke means you can't be serious. The report is not that important. And if there is a deception means I gave it to the secretary, did she use it? So non-defensive communication are powerful too. So speakers see as centered, assertive, control, and informative, and realistic, and honest. So this is what we call it as non-defensive communication power tool. And the speaker exhibits self-control and self-possession. The speaker exhibits self-control and self-possession here. And the listener feels accepted rather than rejected. And there is a rule to non-defensive communication. One thing is define the situation. Second thing is clarify the person's position. And third thing is acknowledge the person's feeling. And fourth one is bring the focus back to the facts. So the listeners feels accepted rather than the project. So speakers have seven centered, assertive, controlled, and informative and realistic and honest. This is what the speaker do. So this is not a thing that really that works on the thing. Just a minute. And what is a non-verbal communication? We have seen already, but what is a non-verbal communication in interpersonal communication? So a non-verbal communication means a small amount of communications that do not involve words. There are four basic types like proxemics. Proxemics means an individual perceptions and use of space. Second one is kinesics, a study of body movement including posture, and facial and eye behavior. So movements that add cues for the receiver. And paralanguage, variations in speech such as pitch, loudness, tempo, tone, duration, laughing, and rain. So terrestrial space means bands of space extending outward from the body, and terrestrial space differs from culture to culture. This is like and seating dynamics means seating people in different positions according to the person's purpose in communication. So this is the thing. And examples of decoding nonverbal means boss fails to acknowledge employees greeting, and he is unapproachable. So boss breathes heavily and waves arms. So he is angry and still out of his way, and no eye contact while communicating. I wonder what he is hiding. And manager sighs deeply so that my option could not come. So new technologies for communication means informational databases, electronic mail systems, voicemail systems, fax machine systems, and cellular phone systems. These are the new variables. So it gives a fast, immediate access to information, and it passes immediate access to people in power. So instant information exchange across dynamics and makes schedules and offers also relevant. So make equalize group power and make equalize participation. So how do these technologies affect behavior? Means one thing is communication became more interpersonal and more interaction with the machine, not with the persons. And interpersonal communications may diminish like less tact, less graciousness. So as non-verbal proves lacking, so allows social context easy to behave over them with the solution, and encourages the pace, that is psychological activity. So the fourth for the effective is one thing is strive for message and building for backwards opportunities, and don't assume that immediate responses are so the immediate responsibilities are not responsible for the things that are happening, and is the message, that is the message really unnecessary. So really disconnect from the methodology and provide social interactions and opportunities. So this is what we call it as interpersonal communication, and this kind of interpersonal communication would really work in a way that it comes to the importance of the organization. Yes. So here we comes to the end of the session. As the end of the session, I would like to discuss some of the things what we have seen before. So before that, I want you all to do an activity for 10 minutes. So what is the thing is, so just take up a paper, and you have attended all these sessions right now. So just take up a paper and try to write something about yourself. So what are all the things you would like to think as important now, and what are the things to that is to recall now, everything. Yes, so just take a live 10 minutes of time to write down about yourself, and later 10 minutes we can start at the next part. That is, we can make a small recap about the interpersonal skills. So now you come to know what are all the skills that are very essential for a person to go into an interview. So what you can do is just we can make a check and analysis right now for 10 minutes. Later we go for the next revision of the interclassification, that is interpersonal skills. So let's recollect something about what we have seen in the past classes. So what are all the skills that we should possess to work effectively in an organization? So first thing, so what are all the interpersonal skills means? It is very necessary module that you should possess to work with others. So an effective communication skills and for listening and expressing, and you should able to give and receive feedbacks, and being able to work well in teams or groups. So what are all the benefits you will get if you have these kind of interpersonal skills that we call it as soft skills? Means you can have a good personal relationships, you can have a good professional relationships, and you can have good employment related skill, and you have a good team or group work in college. So and you can learn about easily about what others are thinking about, and you know how to share the workload easily. And what are the aspects of communication means? First, let's see about what are the aspects of communication. This is what we have seen in the first session. So communication means listening and expressing. So not only speaking, it is called first listening. You should listen and express. You cannot make a communication as that is, you should not mention communication as speaking and speaking to the public or speaking to anyone. So much of blah blah blah. No. So communication means first listening and expressing correctly. And these are two kinds of communications. One is verbal and non-verbal. So listening means paying attention to the total content of someone's verbal communication. Total attention. So not just seeing the person, you should give attention to the person. And without without thinking of what you are going to say next and what you need to do that afternoon, etc. So you need to have a complete concentration. You should avoid distractions, and you should attention in, that is, you should concentrate in giving your full attention, and you should be an active listener. So avoid distractions means reduce noise, so not thinking about what to say and not thinking about other things. So you can attend the information, that is, you can attend using the body language and eye contact or nodding, and by not interrupting. So active listening means you should not first interrupt, you should focus, you should paraphrase, and you should summarize, and you should using open-ended questions, and you should attend to speakers non-verbal language also. So this is what, so verbal is, we are using 7%, in the verbal communication we are using 7%, and the 13% remains in the tone, that is the modulation of tones we are offering. And as we saw before, so the non-verbal communication forms the main part, that is the 80% of the communication is successful by means of a non-verbal. Non-verbal means body language. So when you are about to communicate, you should concentrate these two. One is verbal and another one is non-verbal, because you should give equal weightage to the non-verbal communication. So standing very erect and standing as a strict officer and holding your arms and keeping you tight, and if you speak something in the same pace, the students or maybe anyone, they will not get interested in listening, they will not get interested about it. So actually the communication fails there. Another one is what is body language means. So this is gesturing or the facial expressions, and how to maintain the eye contact, and how to maintain the posture, how to maintain the tone of voice. This is what we have seen. Gesturing means you should move your arms and you should move your hands frequently. You should wave your hands so that you can get the attention of the listener, and you should use the facial expressions, especially when you are communicating through online. The face is the main index, and also there is a probable face is the index of the mind. So with your facial expressions, you can gain more that is attention of the listeners, and you should maintain the eye contact. When it is a single person, you should pop into his eyes, and when it is a group of persons, and you should see randomly all the persons who are sitting in front of you or who are listening. And posture means you should maintain a very erect posture so that you feel very confident in speaking about it. And tone of voice, you should show some modulation, like giving some stress in important points, and giving some that is expressing very in a lower tone when you are expressing something about sad. These kind of things you should maintain in your body language. And communication skill is listening and self-expression. You should maintain these two. What is effective expression means I statements and ownership. and matching non-verbal and verbal. That is more important. You should match. That is, see, if you are effectively speaking about the energy, but if you are not waving your hands, means there is a no match in the verbal and non-verbal. So that you should maintain the match, and you should ask questions. So much of questions you should ask, so that you can avoid the user to go unattended, and you should overcome the barriers. That is, you should remove the barriers in communication that helps you really to have an effective perception. And positive language, you should maintain a positive language. Avoid using the negative sequences, because all the things can be expressed in a positive way. We can avoid the negative way totally. That really shows that you are in a good place, and that you have a very good behavior and character. And it is very important, ask for feedback. So it should not be a one-way communication. It should be a two-way communication. There should be reflective compensation. For that, you should collect the feedback from the person. So you should end your communication by collecting the feedbacks. And whatever the good communication involves, that we know already. So the congruence between what we think, say, and do, and a willingness to listen, and a level of openness and respect for other person. This is all the things we could see in a communication, that we call it as good communication. So good communication means it is feedback. You know what is a feedback and how to collect feedback. So it should be positive, specific, non-judgmental, and it should be sensitive. And also it should encourage. You should give a feedback that they can take action immediately, and two-way and timely. So receiving feedback, while you are receiving the feedback, be open and receptive. Listen to what is being said and be aware of immediate reactions. That is more important. And concentrate on the content. And you can ask questions if you don't understand it, you don't want to hesitate it. And you can ask for help, suggestions, and ideas. And welcome feedback as a constructive way to help develop and improve your skills and performance. So working with others. So when you work with others, you must possess some skills like there is a group is what we have discussed yesterday, like experience, the skills and knowledge of others. It's a group of experience, it's a group of skills, and a group of knowledge of others. So there you should maintain the support system, there you should maintain the encouragement, there you should find the responsibility. So if you are in a team, you will receive these kind of support, encouragement, responsibilities. At the same time, you should give the support, encouragement, and responsibilities. You should share the work among the people, and you should increase the understanding of the people. And if there comes a difference in perspectives, you should work on it. And others, like encouraging all the people immediately. And there is do not leave the silent keepers, as them make them to work. So if someone keep quiet, do not let them to be quiet always. So give some work and encourage them and bring them up. So a group is a collection of individuals who come together for a particular reason or with a common aim. So there you can have some task elements like goals, resources, skills, and decisions. And there are some process elements like the roles, communications, dynamics, and conflict resolution. What is a group dynamic means? So group dynamics examines the way people behave in groups and attempts to understand the factor that makes a group more effective. So to be effective, groups you need to achieve a task, and you need to build and maintain the group, and you want to develop and help individuals. So effective groups, so an effective group can achieve a lot, like clear and relevant goals, open communication, cooperations, and member responsible for own behaviors. And there comes a process of decision established, and problems confronted openly so that it can be solved very easily, and conflict resolved constructively by use of feedbacks or the use of meetings organized, so that we can prevent it, that it cannot rise again. So groups need to be nurtured. That is what does it means. So everyone should give an equal opportunity, whether a small member of a team or whether a great member of a team, there should be equal opportunity among them. And giving presentations means so learning and purposing the context and planning and preparation and the delivery over coming years. So these are the things that we can use, that that is we can avoid while you're giving the presentations. And what is the purpose and context means to inform, to train, to persuade, entertain, sell or demonstrate. So whoever your audience, that you should maintain the purpose of it. And how much time do you have? And what is the venue and where is the venue, formal or informal? So be clear with all the things when you go for the presentation, because your presentation first, what is the purpose of the presentation is to inform someone or to train someone or to persuade someone or to entertain someone. So you should know who is your audience and what is the time you have and what is the venue and where is the venue and whether the presentation is formal or informal. And when you are giving for the planning and preparation, that is prepare some points that are relevant to the aiming audience. Do not gather all the points that is very comfortable to you. Gather the points that is relevant to the audience and maintain the key points only. When you are giving the presentations, to structure the material, first give the introduction, and in the middle give the logics and chunks, and in the end summarize the points. So use of notes and use of visual aids and rehearse the concepts that you can do it. And when you go for delivery, check the room, check the time and check the equipments you have, and take care of yourself, that is take care of your voice, take care of your body language and confidence, and also deals with questions that what a good presentation will give you. And what is that delivery skills means? So when you are prepared and when you are confident in what you are doing, then it gives you a confidence to deliver. So the delivery skills completely depends on the preparation. If you prepare well, you can deliver well and you can deal well. And if for delivering preparations, be aware of the verbal language and be aware of the non-verbal language. So if you feel nervous, this could be the reason, so that you can work on the reason and you can avoid it, like there is a lack of experience or there is a lack of preparations or there is a lack of enthusiasm, and you can demotivate yourself by negative topics. And overcoming, other words, how can you overcome these things? So be prepared well, and you can reverse and practice your presentation 2 times or 3 times. And you can use some relaxation techniques like bubble walk or do some meditations, like so that you can avoid the nervous conditions. And always think positive. Think of the past things that has happened, how you have done really well in an organization or in any company, so that you can think positive and allow for all eventualities, like give all the possibilities and avoid stressors. So you can avoid the stressors, like avoid the thing that makes you stress. So these are all the things that we have seen so far, that is how we can go for the teamwork and how we can work in an organization and what are all the essential skills you should hold and how you should communicate with one another, and how you can maintain the stress and how you can work on the problem, and how you can take an effective decisions, and how you can manage your time, and how you can go with the skills what you have. So these kind of things, what you do is you can directly go with the thing that really helps you and that really makes you understand what is happening in an organization and what is happening in you, and what are all the opportunities you have, and what are all the things that really helps you to achieve the goal. So I want to conclude by these points. As I said before, every human being is made up of hardware and software. The software is the one which is actuating the hardware. So without the software, the hardware will not work. The hardwares are the eyes, ears, nerves, and the legs and hands and everything. So if you want to use all the things with an efficient timing or with an efficient knowledge or anything, you should concentrate on the software. The software is the interpersonal skills that is in you. So that interpersonal skills, that soft skills, when you do some work, when you put some effort to work on this soft skills and interpersonal skills, definitely you have a very good future and you have a very good career opportunities, and you have a very good very professionally better professional work. There you can pursue your dream, your passions, and all your expectations will come true. So what you can do now, so with this sessions, what you can do now is work on yourself. Work on yourself. Concentrate on yourself. What do you have and what you don't have? What is your positive? What is your negative? What is your importance and what is your not importance? What do you want to do right now to change something? What do you want to do right now to enhance something? So if you work on these aspects, definitely you will get an idea, and definitely you will get a very close relationship with yourself, and you can grow anywhere you go. So whatever may be the circumstance, whatever may be the situations, you will grow daily, and your career growth you could see with your own eyes day by day improving. For all these things, you must possess all these soft skills, and you must possess all these interpersonal skills that makes you the best version of yourself. So seeking the best version of yourself daily is the one and only way that makes you to perform well. Thank you. Thank you all.